Hi, my name is Brooke Medeiros, and today I'm going to be talking about the olfactory system and its limbic connections. So first, right here, you have the cingulate gyrus. This is a limbic system structure. Down here, you have the parahippocampal gyrus, which is located in the temporal lobe. This is also a limbic system structure, and the amygdala and the hippocampus are embedded within the parahippocampal gyrus. So looking at this other view of the brain, right here, you have the amygdala, and right there, you have the hippocampus. The hippocampus has a prominent role in learning and memory, and it works to convert short-term memory into long-term memory. Therefore, damage here leads to what is known as anterograde amnesia for declarative memory, meaning patients have the inability to take in new and explicit information, but oftentimes old memory is still intact. The amygdala is related to drive-related behavior, due to its connection to the hypothalamus. Stimulation here leads to fear and its manifestations, and it's also involved in the learning associated with subjective judgment. Therefore, damage here leads to a lack of an emotional response to stimuli due to a patient's inability to remember the appropriate response to the stimuli. Moving on, back to this other page. Right here, you have the hypothalamus. This is where the mammillary bodies are located. This is a connective structure of the limbic system and is also one of the areas where the olfactory system projects its input to. Moving on to the olfactory cortex. This is located right here. Its main function is to detect chemical stimuli in the air and convert it to what we know as our sense of smell. This is strongly linked to emotion, memory, and autonomic responses due to its connection to the limbic system. And moving on to the olfactory system's limbic connections, the fibers from the lateral olfactory tract directly project to the primary olfactory cortex and the amygdala. From there, these projections move to the hypothalamus, limbic system structures, and the thalamus, where the information gets processed. And the olfactory system is the only sensory system where information goes to the cortex before reaching the thalamus, which is pretty interesting. So damage to the olfactory cortex or olfactory system leads to a couple of things. It can lead to what is known as anosmia, which is the loss of the ability of smell. This can indicate that there is a tumor at the base of the skull. This can be caused by head injuries or neurodegenerative diseases, which is known as sensorineural deficits. Damage to the system can also lead to what is known as unsicked seizures, which is a seizure originating in the vicinity of the uncus. This can cause what is known as olfactory hallucination, meaning before the seizure starts, the patient will typically experience a strong sense of a very unpleasant smell that's not actually present. Now moving on to the mammillary bodies, which I mentioned previously, are located within the hypothalamus. Therefore, they have a strong connection to memory processing. Damage here can lead to what is known as Korsakoff psychosis or amnestic confibulatory syndrome. This is caused by chronic alcoholism, and patients here have the inability to take in new memory, and oftentimes they have gaps in their old memory, which then they fill in with false information. Patients with this oftentimes have their intelligence and cognitive abilities still intact. Now moving on to bilateral temporal lobe damage, which is damage to both temporal lobes. This often leads to Culver-Bucy syndrome. Symptoms of this include a lack of an emotional response, increased sexual behaviors, and increased attention to sensory stimuli. So overall, patients here have difficulty attaching emotional meaning to stimuli. Thank you.